If you work for money, it has to change. Why you shouldn't work for money. The rat race is something I knew I couldn't do for the rest of my life. I began working at a young age when my friends were advancing in school. So I knew, before a lot of them, what was coming once they graduated. I had a head start, but the disadvantage is that it meant my options were limited. I didn't have good grades, and whatever job I could pursue had low-paying salaries, potentially for the rest of my life. This stressed me out because I used to calculate how I'd be able to live and buy a house if I remained in the rat race cycle. I knew that something had to change. Why chasing money is a disadvantage. A wise man once said it's either you work hard now and you play later, or you play now and you work hard later, but there's a difference. Personally, I work hard now because I want to enjoy the rest of my life without having to work for money, because there's a big difference. Did you know that a lot of people live miserably because they don't know how to change their lives? If you work for money, that has to change. In this message, I'll explain why emotional intelligence development is key for a better life. Why I worked hard to quit my job. A lot of people are fighting to get a job, but I'm fighting every day not to have a job. Why? Because jobs end, but doing something you love can potentially feed you for the rest of your life. When you work for money, you fall into the rat race cycle of having to work hard for money. I don't want a salary. I learned a long time ago that money has to work for you. When you work for money, you'll regret it when it spits you out. Gone are the days of having one income stream, especially in our modern world. Do what you love and develop yourself so that you don't have to work for money. I'm a motivational writer. This is my passion, and I pursue it lovingly. I get paid to share motivation, which feels amazing. It doesn't feel like a job, which is key, and I'll do this forever. A passion gives you a lot of options than a job that dictates your work requirements. Please don't get me wrong. Get a job that helps you break free from the rat race cycle. I'm free today because of the jobs I worked that enabled me to quit the rat race cycle. FYI. I did what I had to do in order to pursue what I wanted to pursue. If you work for money, it has to change. Your passion is your passport in life. The world has evolved, but one true element remains the same. Dream big and pursue your goals. Who knows how far it will take you, and if you don't give up, you'll reap what you sow. Change your thinking. A job is not good, but pursuing your dreams opens many doors. Because I write, I do more than one thing at a time. I use omnichannels to reach people around the world. I use technology to be profitable, whereas many years ago, writing was considered a hobby. Your passion can feed you if you give yourself a chance. As you grow up, you get to a point where doing what you love makes sense when you see the reality of a rat race existence. Conclusion. If you work for money, it has to change. The rat race is something I knew I couldn't do for the rest of my life, and I worked hard to get out of it. My closing advice to you is to find your passion, and you'll never work again.